New Pope, who dis? Hey everybody, welcome back to the officially unofficial podcast for HBO's New Pope. I'm your host, A.Ron.
And I'm Cecily.
And we are considering the penultimate episode of New Pope. We've only got one left. I feel like we deserve a Cherry Coke Zero.
I think we do.
And with that, if you're not watching this on video, we just took a
thirsty for Jude Law.
A nice long gulp of Cherry Coke Zero. We got some. We were thirsty, and we got our thirst slaked just a little bit, courtesy of Jude Law at the bottom of a drained papal pool with his bare papal ass. Papal. I don't know. People give me credit. People that are not familiar with my body of work give me a lot of.
Don't listen to them. Listen to God.
With my pronunciation. What did you think of this penultimate episode, Cecily?
This was really good. It's the, kind of all the things that we thought were going to happen are happening. There's I'm wondering if the next episode is just going to be all a meeting with the two popes, but there's no way that can be the case.
Well,
I love that Voyello is back in the fold. I love that all of our favorite major players are back in. All the shitheads are out. It feels good.
It's hard for me to imagine how this series is going to wrap up in just 1 hour. Because, I could easily see JP3 and P13 locked in an intense theological disputes between, Lenny's revolutionaryism, the terrorists' revolutionaryism, his middle way. He's got his newfound confidence and swagger, courtesy of one Sophia Dubois.
Will it be a middle way?
Yeah.
Will he abandon that because he knows that was really his brother's teaching, and now that he's
based on satanic millipedes?
Yeah, he's coming to his own as his own man, maybe? Mm-hmm. Did Sophia help him get over that?
But it had, peak Voyello, like his funeral for his friend Girolamo was beautiful and moving, even though it's like I said, I'm going to say this once and I'm not going to harp on it, but like it is kind of bizarre that this actor had such a big part of the show and is so moving, and yet we don't know who he is. Maybe, I don't know, maybe his parents or guardians are protecting him from publicity that he wouldn't be able to deal with. I don't know. But the way that story came together, I thought was pretty beautiful, pretty moving. Mm-hmm. I really liked the funeral. I loved Voyello and Lenny conspiring again. Like that scene where Voyello lays out like what they're going to do with the photos and the blurry and the doctor and this, and like Jude Law's creeping smile across his face is just...
I love Voyello as a double agent.
Yeah.
For JP3 and Pius 13, P13.
He's an honest broker. He's
a broker.
Yeah. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I am interested to see how they wrap this up. I've heard that Sorrentino has an idea for a third season.
Yeah, he's publicly stated that he believes that this is a trilogy. So... I hope there's another one.
Yeah,
there's no confirmations or anything.
Because I felt the same way about last season, and then I didn't see Lenny just having a heart attack as he gave his speech, and then that being the end of the series. And I was like, wow. I mean, but once I saw it, I'm like, wow, that's great. That's satisfying. Now we're getting another. If we get a third, that'll be interesting.
I'm certain that next episode will be great and satisfying.
And probably final if there is not another episode. But
what if they both have a heart attack at the same time?
Simultaneous heart explosions. Put your money down on that to place your bets. Do you want to get into the episode proper? Okay. There's kind of three axes of action here around Voyello, Bauer, and Essence. Would you call them a light triad to the dark triad? Because they're all pretty... The morally gray triad versus the jet black, midnight black triad.
The New World Order.
Yeah. And then we've got some action around Lenny and some action around Sir John. Let's talk about the powers behind the throne.
Well, let's talk about the terrorist up front.
Yeah.
Because it's brief and we see it bookend the beginning and the end of the episode.
And I think they're setting things up with this. So...
We see that the terrorist is, he was just showing his back to the camera and, playing that on TV. I don't know what channel is allowing him all this time. It just occurred to me.
Well, they got channels that just give Pope's breathing. So terrorist backs is like the second most rated channel in Italy, apparently.
Well, they figured out their camera setup and they got it on his face now.
Yeah.
And he's not saying anything, but very much claiming responsibility for these attacks by doing this. And we see the cardinals all watching this. We see Voyello watching it in his garden flower shack. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the episode, we see Esther's son watching it with a babysitter.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm sure that means something with Esther's son, whose name I forget, not really being supervised, but supervised by the babysitter who's on her phone and he's just watching a terrorist on TV.
Yeah.
Sure, it means something.
Isn't Esther's kid named after Lenny? Like, is it Pius or Lenny?
I don't know.
Anyway. Yeah, so they've got I thought it was interesting in this first scene where Voyello kind of gives some shit to Bauer, who is the god of this series apparently. And he's like, essentially, smooth move. You went to go take out the triad and you hit me instead, and now I'm stuck here in his garden shed. And he chides Voyello for not being on top of his game, not seeing that John Paul III was a drug addict before, making him Pope. And reveals that's how Spoletta's been blackmailing him, which I still feel like that's so weak. Like, the fact that the Pope is a drug addict versus letting this child exploitation, financial perversion ring go unchecked. Like,
right.
What is the bigger scandal that would rock the church? Especially once you get the punk rock Pope out.
Right, because there's a difference between knowing and action. Like, Bauer has photographs of you doing some heinous shit. Mm-hmm. What Spoletta has is a rumor that perhaps JP3 might be doing heroin. Mm-hmm. So you have him with that story. I mean, I just don't think there's any, like Voyello says as much, as you can't threaten the Pope. You don't make threats against him.
Yeah.
It's just words are wind.
Yeah, just make Spoletta go away. And the other thing is, they also established that they had something really strong against Voyello. Remember when the financial minister came and said, and Voyello's like, oh, what's this? I've seen this move. And he opens it and his like face blanched and his mouth went dry and he's like, okay, I'm ready to play ball. Did that just go away?
I don't think it matters because Bauer has more against the evil triad now.
Yeah, that's true. He's got them all doing drugs and underage women and who knows what else.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things that he drops on Voyello to demonstrate how uninformed he is. Number one, they didn't do Francis II. They're gearing up to do their dirty deed, and then they had somehow, I don't know how they found out this, whether Lenny they got a pinky cam on him, or the horny nun is like giving like keeping a diary of his body movements, but they knew that he twitched his pinky finger and Francis II died. Which, man, that's the other thing. Like, we haven't talked about this in a few weeks, but like, this show seems to ask a bunch of interesting questions about what the mission of the church is and what Christians' mission is and what the Pope's job in leading this is. And yet they always seem to have the heroes, the protagonists, and God himself on the side of, I mean, God likes mystery more than he likes taking care of the poor and the orphans. I don't know, because Lenny struck down Francis II, and also he's awake. And Voyello didn't know any of those things. So,
yeah, I mean, maybe I think we give God the credit of being having a personhood and being, like a thinking, feeling, compassionate person that just sits in a chair and makes decisions.
Yeah,
but
Heavenly Father, yeah.
I don't think if God exists, I don't think it's anything like that. I think it's very much what needs to happen is going to happen kind of idea.
Do you think that these like very holy men, these cardinals, these bishops, these popes, like have that inside knowledge that God is more of like a Lovecraftian, unfathomable entity, and they're like, because like they don't act like it.
No, I'm saying that these people are worshiping God as if he's the person like the Pope sitting in a chair making informed decisions. Mm-hmm. And I think if anything, there's a power at work here that they've tapped into in a way that makes things happen for the people who earn it. Like Lenny says, you have to earn God's love, and God doesn't really like people. And I feel like it's more of an idea than it is a person that can just say like, well, I'm going to strike this person with this affliction like Eric and Girolamo. And I'm also going to make people who don't really deserve it, give them powerful positions like Spoletta, you know?
I blame the millipedes.
Sure.
Goddamn millipedes. So then Bauer visits Faisal in his prison cell, and something I think that you found shocking, and I did too, because I was leaving room for this but it turns out that it looks like Faisal was involved in the bombing of St. Peter's Basilica.
I'm not getting any answers out of this. He says, I'm going to take your response as an answer, which I guess
Leopold Essence kept creeping closer and closer, counting down with his fingers, the threatening non-threat. Yeah.
Does this mean, since now we know Essence and Bauer are working together, does this mean that Bauer is the number one smartest man in the world?
I think he thinks he is. Certainly.
Okay.
As a man without property running the world out of a hotel room, I think he moves through the world as if he is the smartest man.
Maybe he literally is God, and that's how he knew that he didn't have anything to do with killing Pope Francis II.
I could totally get on Bauer being God in like an Alanis Morissette, Dogma, Kevin Smith kind of way.
Yeah.
And that like Leopold Essence is his angel of death. Like that would be kind of cool. I don't know what God's doing with some floozy in various cafes and hotel rooms.
Whoa, floozy. That's a little uncalled for. It's his girlfriend.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to cast aspersions on this young woman.
Sure. She's not a floozy. She's a young woman who dances and slurps oysters in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And God's got a thing for shellfish. Weird, since he was so against it in the Old Testament, but I like your theory.
That was your theory.
What's the point of going to Faisal and intimidating him? Like, what are they doing with this?
I think he's trying to get the truth about who was actually responsible for the attack. I think you were right that it is Faisal.
How is so? I guess there's a lot more, and there's a lot more steps, because like Faisal saying yes, I did it, does not surely point to the terrorist guy with the turban and AK-47.
No, but it tells you where to start or stop.
Yeah.
Do I keep looking for the person responsible?
Okay. So they can just roll that up and eventually come up with some proof, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they got that out of Faisal. So we then do a little bit of Roman Vatican intrigue, where Ascente confronts Gutierrez and says, I want to keep Pius XIII secluded from the other cardinals. They're not allowed to meet him. And Gutierrez has mixed feelings about that. And then Ascente taunts him with, how's your toy boy?
Toy boy.
Toy boy, right. I wrote that down, and I was like, he surely didn't say toy boy. But he goes, Freddie's fine because you have not allowed us priests to have unseemly relations. And I complied. And then he asked pointedly, did you comply, Cardinal Ascente? And then we instantly see Ascente leave the room, and Cavallo pounces on him and devours him in a very passionate, seductive way. So no, Ascente and Cavallo are going at it.
Still holding a candle for Gutierrez.
We also find out that Ascente revoked the orphanage mission, and this is an epic scene. They have the chief nun, who I've forgotten.
The abbess.
The abbess. She is marching back and forth on the table, so she's on the same level as Ascente, while the head of the resistance, Lisette is handling the negotiations, and he shuts it down and he says, you guys have more important things to do, namely our laundry. And they're like, this is ridiculous. We can take care of orphans and laundry at the same time. And he threatens them and says, if you move forward with this, I will punish you, because unlike my previous wimp of a predecessor, which we know is completely wrong, I am not one to be pushed over. I don't believe in diplomacy or negotiation.
And he really doesn't care for orphans.
Oh my God. And this was shocking to me to hear this thing said out loud, because this is literally Antichrist material. like Jesus took it a point to, like, when people really put him up the heart, he'd grab a child, sit him on his knee, and say, "This is like the epitome of God's children. These are the types of people that you take care of, and if you take care of people like me, these orphans, these widows, these fatherless boys." It's the same as if you're caring for my own flesh and my own personal needs. And this guy is literally wiping his ass with that.
Yeah, which is really a shame because I didn't think that Asante was this bad of a person. I can see him trying to discourage Gutierrez from having any relations that aren't with him.
Just to punish him. Yeah.
Just to punish him personally.
Right.
But for him to just turn out to be such a complete shit and get sent away, which I assume we're not going to see him again, or Hernandez.
Oh, it'd be cool to just have a post-credits of them sitting there in Cabal.
Yeah.
Like in the bombed-out remnants of some church.
I really liked him. I really don't like that I feel like he's being punished because he's gay.
I think there's been enough benevolent gay characters that you can't just say that, oh, it's the evil gay stereotype. You had Lenny's brother, or, like half brother, spiritual brother last season. Was very sympathetic. You've got Gutierrez, which is like, he might be the best like moral character on the show, who's gay. But I think he's being punished because he's a real shit.
Yeah, but he wasn't before.
But that's something that I've said from the very, very beginning, that this guy seems like he's kind of insincere and upwardly mobile and doing things for all the wrong reasons. I like it. I think he's stylish and he's elegant and he cuts a mean jib, or dances a mean jib. But yeah, I guess I'm fine with him getting his comeuppance because, yeah, saying I have no intention of seeing a herd of screaming children in my gardens. I detest children and orphans. Like, if he had a mustache, he'd be twirling it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So Girolamo dies in the greenhouse while Voello's telling him about meeting Lenny and his revelation about Napoli, which we'll get to. And it's really tragic and heartbreaking because you see Don Mimo's holding his hands and he realizes right away that something's wrong and he's crying. And Voello's is begging him not to leave. We see that the resistance nuns reveal that because there's the sister that's pregnant with Faisal's baby, and she's crying about the reversal of her fortunes, and they come in and say things went very well, and we're like, the fuck? And then they reveal the recording. Sister Lizette, she's a formidable adversary. In fact, how cool would it be if Lizette becomes like Voello's right hand nun in season 3?
I like them better as adversaries.
That's true.
But this is also this also works with like Lenny saying that he loves children when we get to him reading through the children or the letters with the children, and he slaps the table and he's like, I just hate seeing children suffer. Which means that he's going to be totally on board with the orphanage opening up.
We'll see. There's a couple things I got some questions about that. Voello and Girolamo's dad planned his funeral. His father insists that they had no friends and wants to make it on a private affair. And Voello's like, oh no, I'm rolling up my vestments and I'm getting to work. And not only that, but like, you don't know anything about Girolamo. Only I understood him. This is the man's father, right? As what I understand.
I don't know. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. And it seems like Girolamo got a lot from this relationship, that like he, Voello treated him like a person and introduced him to lots of new things, watched television, spent time with him, talked to him like a person. These seem like they're all fine, good things, but it's weird that he's going to be used as a prop for Voello's humanity throughout the rest of the episode. And again, I don't want to harp on it too much because I like the way they're doing the story. It's just a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
He then meets with JP3, and he talks about JP3's there to beg for him to come back, and he says, my mentor Newman wrote about the duty of the Christian is to oppose the world, and I can't do it unless you're by my side. And Voello says, the first, you got to agree to eliminate the triad, and you got to do me a favor. We then see the morally gray Leopold Essence meet with the underage girl that's been entertaining the triad. Then
Does he have to creep on her?
I don't think he has any other gear. He's like John Waters. Like, he's just going to creep, and that's what he's going to do.
Okay.
And he can do it in like a gentle, non-threatening creep, or he can do it in a very ultra menacing, I'm going to beat your brains in with the iron bar creep. But you're going to get the creep. The creep is baked in the bones.
Yeah, it's like he and Cavallo have that same skill to just make people uneasy, just being themselves, so they capitalized on it.
I would love to see Essence and Cavallo like be in the same room. Like, how would they interact? the two most uncomfortable making people in the world. It's like an immovable object and an irresistible force.
Yeah. And I mean, there's just something so charming about a Southern accent, but the way he's deploying it here is like...
Does he have a Southern accent?
Yeah. Yeah, an American Southern accent.
I would say it's sepulchral. Is that how you say that? Like, from the grave? I don't know if it's American. It's from hell. That voice has got a hellish accent, I think. But we didn't get to like one of the big showpieces of the episode, which is Girolamo's funeral.
Girolamo.
I'm trying out a lot of different pronunciations here, see how the mouth feels. The Pope opens up the funeral with the mass, which is like a high honor, and Voyella gives a very moving tribute to the innocence and simplicity of his relationship with Girolamo. Asserting that he's a saint, and then like I was holding it together pretty well until they showed Don Mimo weeping in one of the front rows, and then I started to get pretty weepy. He's the world that suffers, the world that loves. He thanks God for giving the opportunity to be his best friend, and that he'll never forget him. And like I said, it's pretty moving tribute, and it got everybody in that that's St. Peter's Basilica too. They've completely restored it seems. So
the Pieta, which was restored by the end of last episode.
Was it?
Yeah, at least that part was, that specific sculpture.
Okay.
So yeah, it looks...
I wonder how long of time has elapsed here. Because like sometimes like this is a little Game of Thronesy where it's like I would believe 2 days, I'd believe 2 months.
Yeah, you're right. Enough time to pack up and head to the Dolomites.
Yeah,
and exactly. Back.
So then outside the funeral, as Ascente is congratulating him and setting this beautiful funeral up, Viella just totally dusts him off. And Ascente says, "You can't do this to me." And he's like, "Oh, I've got audio of the cloister's nuns where you say you're a complete asshole about children and orphans." And he's like, "That's not enough." And he's like, "Also, I got you and Cavallo fucking." And yeah, the giggle finally was used for as a force of good. And
I don't like any of this.
I do. It's scummy, and the way this guy just takes pleasure in destroying Voello's political enemies. And where he's like, pick a location you don't like. He's like, I hate my hometown. And then he giggles and says, "Oh, but there's already a cardinal there, so let's stick you at a place that also has a cardinal."
Yeah, right.
That's Kabul. I mean, that's all. Like everything's just like you have no say. You're ruined, Ascente. You're destroyed.
I wonder if he had opened with saying, "I want to go to Kabul."
Yeah, I've always wanted to see Afghanistan. It's such a there's so much amazing art and sculpture and history there. If he would have got sent to someplace else. But yeah, he's gone. Do you think we'll ever see him again?
I don't know. I really don't know. We haven't seen the guy they sent off to Alaska. Was it Alaska? In last episode, we haven't seen him again.
You talking about
Hernandez? But I don't know why we would. No, I'm talking about the guy who was alleged, but most likely a pedophile that Gutierrez investigated in last season. He got sent off somewhere to Alaska. But that I wouldn't say that being gay and being a lookalike to Voyello are enough of a crime to not be seen in the next season or in the next episode.
Yeah. But we also then see that the triad wakes up in their sex dungeon altar to find the unsettling presence of God himself, Bauer, and Leopold Essence regarding them, and they show them very high-res pictures and even video of them having sex with an underage girl as they're doing tons of drugs and just kind of living it up on the Pope's dime. or God's dime rather, and Bauer's telling them what's going to happen, and he almost issues a threat.
Almost.
But it's just like, I don't know, just like it's like a 2-minute speech of him just saying, how bad he's going to fuck these guys. And then the underage girl herself gives him one of those like was it
Mamma Mia too?
Yeah, or the one of the Greek island women are saying you're getting karma spelled with a ha.
Yeah.
I don't know. Good. Maybe she should get more. Maybe.
It doesn't feel like it's enough for her. It doesn't. I mean, there's a reason why she got into this situation.
Sure.
And I'm not saying it's her fault in any way. I'm saying that there was a power imbalance that was used against her.
Money,
so
probably.
I don't think.
I hope they take care of her.
Hopefully,
yeah,
but also
and not in the like kind of way. Like they legit take care of her.
Yeah, I mean, if you are going to oust these guys, why not publicly humiliate them? You're gonna be, what do they call it? Officially being defrocked.
Well,
like Spoletta's not just being moved; he's
right?
being removed completely from the church. He's not going to be any position or rank anymore.
But it's like they're free men if now they have something over their heads, because like if they went full scorched earth, then maybe they go to prison, but then the Pope gets taken down because of a heroin scandal.
You're right.
And so like this is kind of one of those lesser of two evil situations they're trying to maintain. We'll see if it works. But Sophia then grouses the Voello that her husband won't face justice. Voello assures them that true justice happens in the soul, which if you're all Christians, that should be pretty controversial.
Yeah.
Like these guys go in hell. If there's a hell at all, they'll go to the special one. And, Sophia, you're going to go to the light. So
yes, she is.
She suggests that John Paul III and Pius XIII's got to meet to figure out what to do with this anti-pope situation that we've got brewing. And she's already said that and Voello wants her to convince JP3, but she says I can't because we're going to get into her whole situation with the Pope. And Voello says fine, I'll do it. And he is a very persuasive man, as they point out several times this season and even this episode. Predictably, the strategy of leaking a photo of Lenny to the nuns causes a stir. We see a scene of the doctor being mobbed by the press. Several outlets talking about, oh my God, is Lenny back? Is he dead? We see the scene of Esther's child alone with a babysitter. I didn't think Esther died when they watered her off to be cleansed. And I still don't, because
I don't either, because she wouldn't just be with a babysitter.
But what is she? We're supposed to wonder what she is doing.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to be the shock soldiers of Lenny's revolutionary Christian army. Because
they're not done.
All those Red Hood folks seem like the types that would wear a dynamite vest and do some things in like a religious fervor. We'll see. And then that's where we leave it. Whereas at the end of the episode, Voello seems like he does a long way to convince John Paul III to meet with Lenny, and they're both considering like it feels like one of those Rocky movies where you're in the locker room and like Rocky's sitting there and like about to put on his robe and he's getting his hands taped up. Like the two popes are sitting there looking at their vestments and kind of weighing the moment and what they're going to do and say. I thought that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So Lenny comes back to the Vatican and he's got a few surprises. First, fridge is full of Cherry Coke Zero, and his old favorite rowing machine is back. And Lenny observes that the terrorist leader is now showing his face, and one of the monks or the friars observes, just like you, Holy Father, like your strategy. And I wonder if they're setting up that kind of thing where there's these two polar extremes of Lenny and the terrorist on the one side, like, it's literally going back to Crusades, and John Paul III is going to be able to bridge that with some kind of middle path.
Don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think I really don't know where they're going with the terrorists, except that there is definitely religious fervor, and there's a God that's speaking to all of these men in completely different ways. And who's to say what's right? Well, bombing people isn't right, so that's a pretty obvious one. But the Catholic Church has some pretty big diseases, as JP3 would say, within it themselves.
Yeah.
So I think that all of them need to find their own middle way within their heart. And if not to sound too cheesy, but you know what I mean? There's, I don't know, are you still on board with this anti-pope thing? Because it seems like the two of them might reach a place where they can work together. And what does that look like?
Or they might storm out of the meeting and swear revenge on each other's house.
Or JP3 steps down because at the end of the episode, he's defrocking as Lenny's about to refrock, hopefully very slowly.
I don't know, because it's interesting when Lenny wonders what he is in a scene that we're about to consider, and Voello says, "You're an emeritus pope." I was sure that they were going to get into like a anti-pope situation, and like Voello saying historically, this is when it ends peacefully, it's because people get together and they broker something out, and when it ends and if not, it ends violently. But they didn't go in there, so I don't know. I don't know that that Sorrentino necessarily is getting what I thought that they were, or is getting to where I thought they were getting to. But they also talk about antichrists, and like Lenny said, if anything, I'm an antichrist.
Right. And then we've got people actually acting like the antichrist, like Ascente and
so they're playing with those themes, but I don't know. I'm content to watch whatever certainly fascinating, gorgeous thing is going to unfold.
Absolutely.
Probably provocative too. We see Lenny talking with Gutierrez, which clearly is not heeding Asente's counsel to stay away from Lenny. And he's got boxes of mail from just the children that were sent into him while he was in his coma.
And he's read every single one of them.
He's read every single letter because, Gutierrez is just a saint. And Lenny says, "Read me one that particularly struck you." And he went to a particular box, got one out about a little girl whose brother can't sleep and is afraid because the Pope is in a coma and can't wake up. And she says, "Please wake up because my brother needs to go to school." And Lenny slaps the table, like I said, and said, "I can't tolerate the thought of children suffering." I don't remember this side of Lenny. Is this the side that came out with the Eric situation? Because Lenny's the more of like so uncomfortable around babies that he drops them like literal hot potatoes.
Yeah, this maybe this is him like softening a little bit. He keeps saying that he has seen everything and knows everything now that he's come out of his coma. So it seems like that also means he's got a new appreciation or awareness of the suffering of children and just children and
if not,
and nuns and immigrants. Maybe I'm not sure.
And if not, this experience he had with the doctor and Madonna and Eric probably showed him the beauty of the selfless love. And
yeah, I mean, if nothing else, the power of a good night's sleep.
But something we can all get behind. Like, I've seen Lenny be genuine and be genuinely moved. This seemed performative. Him slapping.
Absolutely.
And,
Gutierrez jumping and being scared. It seemed very performative.
So we then see a scene of Lenny doing rowing, and on one of his backstrokes, he sees the Vanity Fair magazine article, "The Papa Punk," expose on John Paul III.
What does he think about this?
I don't know.
Is this him getting the idea? I forget which order these scenes occurred in. Is this before or after Voello talked to him about meeting?
This is before.
Okay, so maybe the seed is being planted. Maybe he's got an idea of JP3's humanity.
Yeah, or his weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's very enigmatic, this look he gives to the magazine. So then we get to the scene where him and Voello meet for the first time, and it's great. Lenny taunts him like, "You're not going to ask any questions about my experience," and Voello's like, "No, because you don't know the answers, and I'm a pragmatic man."
Except he does want to know the outcome of Napoli.
He does. That's really cute.
And he does take the time to taunt him.
His obsession with the soccer team. There's a really funny scene about how they wonder what they're going to do to Ascente, and he says omen nomen, or nomen omen, I can't remember which one, which is Latin for the name is a sign, or like the name is the label of the thing, and Ascente means absent, and so let's just let him, let's not even worry about him, and we'll be the men behind the scenes. Lenny teases him about his book, and this is just this scene is fucking the best.
These two, it's just
like, we waited so long to see it, and you gotta love it. When it finally comes together, you gotta love it.
You gotta love it. You know who else loves seeing Pius the 13th?
Who's that?
Oh, Sister Suri.
Oh, we're not done with the scene yet. I'm not done with the scene, because the thing is Lenny is really concerned with the terrorist. He wants to spark a revolution because they attacked St. Peter's Basilica, and he's declaring war. And they discussed the plan. Like Viello says, here, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And we kind of, I guess, already talked about, maybe you're right to move on. The slow smile of Lenny, just hearing Viello spin all this elaborate web of deception and doubt and mystery. And then they do that awkward kind of handshake /
He doesn't know whether to go in for a hug or right. Yeah.
And he goes to kiss the ring, but it's not there. And he's like, well, fuck it, I'll kiss it anyway.
And Lenny takes the stand, puts his hand behind his back. He's getting the hang of it again.
Yeah, he's getting the Holy Father routine back. Speaking of that, you're right. Pius does meet with Sister Suri and hug it out because she misses him so much.
And she knows him so well. She brought him his clothes because that's exactly what he wanted to see. Gets him all choked up.
Wants his vestments. Yeah.
I would give anything within reason to get a Pope Lenny hug.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
It's so warm. It's so comforting. You feel seen.
You know how amazing he smells.
You feel loved. He smells so good.
He smells like Jude Law.
Like oranges, maybe.
Oranges and vanilla, a little cinnamon.
Yeah.
With some like musk sandalwood kind of masculine smell underlying it all. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, Pius XIII meets with the nuns, and the wheels a little bit come off for me, because but I get it. He's like, he's speaking the truth from his place as a member of the church establishment, which is, you want us to keep pace with modern society, but that's not what we are. We're not champions of progress. We're champions of faith. And we live with privations and sacrifices. And not that things aren't going to change, because maybe what needs to happen is the priests suffer some of these privations and sacrifices, and they can learn from your example, sisters, and they can start doing their own damn laundry. But I wonder what he what is the answer for the orphans and all that kind of stuff, because he says a whole bunch of stuff to kind of calm them down, but he also says, I'm not going to give you what you want. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making the sacrifice. He's already talking like the Pope.
I feel like he gives them the orphanage.
The how? What did he say that makes you think that?
He knows that a woman is pregnant.
Yeah.
So what's he going to have her do?
Be drummed out of the service?
No.
I mean, I don't know. The thing is don't forget, Lenny is sometimes a dick and doesn't treat people with kindness and compassion. And that's one of his least Christ-like qualities.
I won't hear of it.
All right. Well, I hope you're right. I hope that Lenny is going to be a warm...
Is he going to force her to get an abortion? What are you getting at here?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that she might have to lose her habit and go off onto just, be an Esther type. Well, maybe not a full-on Esther type.
No.
I don't know. I just think that there's nothing in here that made me feel like that, the nunneries, the nuns maintaining an orphanage is a slam dunk there. Then we have an epic shot at the end where JP3 and Pius XIII are considering their uniforms, and we were chanting in unison. Like as the camera starts swooping, we saw we understood that he's standing there naked, and the camera swooped lower and lower, like, Pope ass, Pope ass, Pope ass, and we got it. We got it. We got full length backle nudity, and it was glorious.
What does this mean? This is a small. It's not a swimming pool. This is a baptismal pool that's out of season.
It's designed for people to get into because there's a ladder. I was wondering that
pool.
myself. We know that was supposedly January, February in Venice.
Yeah.
So if this is a couple months, maybe it's like getting to be early spring, but the pool's not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you think this is like a baptismal pool type of thing?
It's a terrible baptismal pool because it's like 8 foot deep and around. There's no place to sit. It's
that's true.
I honestly don't know what you're supposed to do.
What
with
the hell is he doing
like
in there? You can't put that thing on without it getting all dirty, and it's got to be dirty just hanging on the side of the wall.
Unless it's miraculously kept clean by his faith. I honestly don't know. It's a sick shot.
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's more, maybe it's one of those things that's not literally true. You know,
I had my magnifying glass and I was looking at the reflection of the water.
You perv. You're trying to get that papal penis. And
Jesus
didn't. Oh, I'm the one.
You're disgusting.
I'm not the one downloading screenshots and enhancing like it's some kind of CSI app. So then we see Sophia dancing over the credits, and it's super cute. She's despite her evil husband getting off with the very lightest tap of
so do we get to talk about Sophia and John now?
Yes, we are about to get no, that's the end of the episode. We're done. Thanks for listening to the new Pope. We'll be back for finale. No, yes, we are now going to get to the giant bullet point, which is Sir John / JP3, who is holed up in the Dolomites, suffering flashbacks of him and Adam skiing. He's deliberately tormenting himself.
You think this is the same place where they were skiing when his brother died?
Yes, has to be.
Why does it have to be?
It doesn't have to be, but why wouldn't it? I guess why wouldn't it be? Narratively, it makes sense for it to be because I don't think this is a papal property. I think this is like one of his.
No, they said as much.
Did they really?
Yeah, that he was at a papal property, and Sophia was trying to grill Gutierrez to get this information out of him. She's like, "Where is he?" He's like, "Oh, he's at a chalet." She's like, "You have to be more specific because there's over 100,000 properties that the church owns."
Okay, you're right.
I'm not saying this is the same chalet they were staying in. I'm saying it's this like same ski mountain.
I don't know because I don't think he's ever identified exactly where it happened.
I love this line: "Death does not announce its arrival." So who is it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start trying to use that.
Everything's just so dead. I love how I don't know people. Well, I look at some people criticizing like the deadpan delivery of John Paul III, Sir John, and like to me, this is part of the show's charm. Like Voyello has a very distinctive and weird way of speaking. Sir John has a very weird and distinctive, like all life has been drained out of him over his life, over his long years of service. Everyone's got a very particular thing that they're doing, and also I think it's funny that you have John Malkovich, an American, doing this posh upper class English accent, and you have Jude Law, an Englishman, doing a fairly good American accent.
Oh yeah, I tend to forget.
Pope, anti-pope, American, anti-American.
Yeah, I was looking up some of these other actors and trying to see what kind of accent work that they're doing. Like Voyello specifically.
I think Voyello is just struggling. That's just. Does he speak English fluently? Really?
Yeah. I mean, if you see him in anything else, it's just I don't know if he's really like laying it on thick or if he's acting like he's laying it on thick. But I mean, you can even see it in Hernandez, the way he speaks when he's Hernandez.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
And like Ludovine Sagnier, who's Esther, she's a French woman. And I can't tell if she's doing like an English French accent or a French. Sophia is also French.
Yeah.
By birth.
And
she's got an adorable accent.
She does. Everything about her is adorable. Which is the point. John Paul III is being visited by Sophia, and his butler says you need to return to what you've always been, a seductive man. And this seems like it really gets his mojo back, this intimacy he has with Sophia. Do you think they fucked?
No,
I don't think so either.
Absolutely not.
It's a very chaste romance. Like it gives him his mojo back, but he stopped short of being
giving into the carnal.
It's very flirtatious. It's the middle path.
Yeah.
And it's very, very sexy, very hot stuff here. And she says, do you mind if I'm intimate with you, Holy Father? And he closes his eyes and anything could happen. He's putting there's an interesting thing where he several times kind of puts his virtue in her hands. Like, I don't think he'd put up a fight if, she started tearing into him, but instead she just starts applying the mascara because she wants to make him feel like himself. And he mistakes the embarrassment of the interview and the resulting Vanity Fair with, failure, where she says, no, embarrassment leads to unity, because we all have been embarrassed. We've all made fools of ourselves. We've all done things in the past that we regret and see as foolish. He's
most like just a regular person.
Right.
Pope Francis went too far in trying to give away everything and live in a very, in an impoverished type of way where you give everything you have. And I wouldn't say that Pius the 13th is someone who, well, he guess it does kind of revel in the material, but just being able to make mistakes and also to question whether or not you're doing the right thing and you're doing it well is something that everyone can relate to.
Yeah, and I think it's, but I do think it's fatal to his papacy because they've made it a big point that, like, to be a pope, you have to maintain the intrigue and mystery, and laying all this stuff bare. It seems to me that, like, the show is telling us, if we've been paying attention, that there's no way that he can be a successful pope from here.
I would say it's 100% laid bare. I mean, I think with him at his most confident and with Voyello, committed to him keeping his mystery, people may speculate that he's doing heroin, the people who know what the signs look like, but that's not something that's publicly being said right now.
I'm just talking about...
So I think he's continuing to keep that mystery alive with Voyello and Sophia's help.
I'm just talking about just even the punk rock stuff and all that, like, he might be a good pope to progressively lead the church forward into the modern era, but, like, the show seems like that's its antithesis. It doesn't want that to happen. It thinks the church should be rooted in mystery and tradition and very slowly change, if at all. So I don't know. We're treated to a scene of Sophia and John Paul III skiing. She falls off the path. I wonder, because she seems like she's a decent skier, I wonder if she did this intentionally to show that and the way they cut it's weird because he's kind of explaining his failures over this scene and into the next scene. But I think the scene serves to heal him because he was able to care for her in a way that he wasn't able to care for his brother, because maybe he's still addicted to heroin, maybe he still has some problems with it, but he's not so strung out that he is completely devoid of action and able to care for somebody, which I think she did deliberately.
I don't believe so. I don't think that she knew how his brother died until he told her later.
I mean,
because he's telling her outside later,
though, right? Because
I don't know. We didn't.
We
can only speculate.
Well, I mean, he said it's like, my parents hate me because I didn't do enough on some cold, some winter morning.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And I don't think she'd do it deliberately because, one, she could absolutely run her head into a tree and do the exact same thing. And two, I think if you were going to come at it with that plan, I think it serves more of a risk to, like, traumatize him even further or scare him.
Wrong, yeah, you fuck up and it's wrong. So maybe it's a miracle.
Yeah.
An immaculate collision.
But yeah, for this to happen, I think was kind of breaking down that last barrier for him and, just being open and honest about what happened with someone at least so that he could overcome and start to move forward a little bit. It's been 40 fucking years.
Yeah, but it's hard. Like, it's reminded me a lot of the AA leader in Breaking Bad, when he's starting to help Jesse, and he confided that he got so drunk that he backed over his child in the driveway, and how the hell do you ever get over that? And the answer is, like, you either do or you die. Like, you either find a way to forgive yourself and become a good person within the framework of, oh my God, I was capable of doing this thing and I did this thing, or you give up and you spiral and you die. And Sir John's making that same realization that, like, you did an awful thing and you have been making you and your family pay this price for 40 years. And for what? Do you believe in forgiveness? Do you believe in the grace of God? Do you believe in that Moses kiss or not? So, and then the way they ended things with, he says, nothing's consoled me, not God's presence or grace, but, like, your kind of belief in me has done the trick. But he also says sick loves cannot be treated. So I want to feel your breath on my cheek one more time. And then after that, I'm only forced to keep my distance from you forever.
Is he firing her?
No,
obviously
no,
not. But
it also something that, like, Sophia's taking seriously. Like, when Voyello's like, "Hey, can you help me?" And she's like, "No, I gotta keep my distance. The Pope's commands." So there's also, like, some confidence that maybe he's had some revelations about his brother not being perfect. Like, he took credit for this middle way, but he has maybe privately thought of ways that could be better. And the way we know this is he says, Adam thought the millipede was God. It's actually Satan. I don't fully know what that means, but he says even Adam made mistakes. So he's ready to move forward.
Yep. ready to go do the Angelus? Angelus?
Yeah, this is a prayer for Mary. It's like a ritual prayer that a lot of faithful are flying in to see because they're wanting to see the punk rock Pope do the Angelus.
This is one of those big events that you come to go see. You
Yeah,
come to
it's
visit
kind of like
to
there's
see.
like several different times where the Pope like addresses the public or observes public sacred things. And I think this is one of
This
them.
is like an annual thing, or does it happen multiple times a year? What? Tell me about
think
this.
it happens like it's some kind of date that's around the celebration of Mary. I don't know, because I did the barest amount of looking into this, and it's so the Angelus is there's an angel that appeared to Mary that told her what was going to happen as far as like her giving birth to the chosen one, the Messiah. And it's in the Bible, and it's essentially the Pope giving that in Latin, and in between like the different passages of the angel saying these things to Mary. Because I think that it was like a 3-part revelation too. Like the angel came to like John the Baptist's mom, and then he came to Mary, and then he might have came to Mary again. But in between that, they also do the Hail Mary. So they have a verse, and then the Hail Mary is the chorus, and then they do that, and that's the Angelus. It's a ritual prayer.
All right.
The angels revelation of Mary.
The more you know.
Yep. And that is the
And now-
episode. How are they going to wrap this up in an hour?
Yeah.
Or at least get us to a satisfying conclusion that leaves a little scaffolding to build a potential third piece of this in a potential trilogy.
Yeah, I'm dying to know. So excited.
I can't wait either. We'll be here next week to find out the finale of New Pope along with y'all. Until then, I'm your host, A.Ron.
And I'm Cecily.
See ya.